Hi guys, this is Alexandra again from Mason Lifestyle. I hope you guys are doing well. I was gonna bring you a sew along today, but I just watched Whitney from TomKat Stitchery. Do you guys watch her channel on YouTube? She is absolutely wonderful, and she was just talking about a challenge that Lindsay from Inside the Hem. Do you guys watch her channel? She's wonderful too, great sew-alongs, and kind of just shows great, kind of like great things to learn every week. So love both of their channels. So they have a challenge and it's called a 5 questions, 1 take. And I thought, that's a great YouTube video. And I think that would be a good one for you guys to kind of learn a little bit more about me and learn about the person that is here every week. So I am going to kind of start and try not to go off on a tangent. So here we go. So her first question, or the first question of the challenge, is what has your sewing journey looked like? When did you start sewing? Who taught you? Have you taken any breaks? So I started my sewing journey in Puerto Rico, which is where I'm from. I think I've told you guys that a couple of times. My grandmother, my dad's mom, she taught me how to sew, and we started with like needlepoint, right? And it was when I was little, almost like 9 years ago, or nine years old, and she started me out with needlepoint. And I would even like stitch my own dress onto the needlepoint hoop. It was interesting, but she taught me how to sew. I will say she was brutal. She had 8 kids and she was a single mom because her husband had died in the war. So it was brutal. She had 0 patience, you guys, 0 patience, but she taught me how to sew. And eventually I took a break, right? Because you're a teenager, that's not cool anymore. So I took a break, and then I went to college at Purdue in Indiana, and I just kind of put sewing to the back burner, and I didn't do it for many years. Then I did engineering for a while, and I quit that job because eventually, if you are someone who is creative, sitting in a cubicle and just crunching numbers is just not your thing, and eventually the creative will take over. Believe me on that. If you're one of those, it will eventually take over. So it did take over, and I went into floristry, and I'll keep going. And we did some great things. I had my own business and whatnot. Eventually for my business, I had to pull out my sewing machine because I was a florist for events, like high-end events. So I had to sew some things. I had to sew curtains, pillow covers. So, okay, in would come out my machine, and we would fight a little. Actually, we would fight a lot. That was just not enjoyable sewing at that time. And, we would get the pillow done, and we would get whatever needed to be done. We would just get it done. And then my sewing machine would just go away, right? I did some great things. It was a very fun job. It really was. But I gotta tell you, I worked some crazy hours. And when I mean crazy hours, it was like weekends. And if you were in your bed on a Saturday at 1 a.m., guess what? I was working. It was crazy. I think in 2019, I had told my husband, I really want to kind of like slow down. I really want to slow down. I'm not getting any younger. And I knew that on 2020, I was going to start getting my business ready to be sold. But, the jokes was on all of us about 2020. And, it was kind of crazy, right? It's like trying to, business and all that good stuff and events. And I'm trying to get on a tangent, but I will explain to you. I had to close my business. It is what it is. I loved it, but I think I was also kind of ready to move on. So February of this year, February this year, I just had to completely close my business. It was just not, the numbers don't lie, folks. And then there were just too many hurdles to get through. So I said, perhaps this is God telling me to stop. So I did. And there was just so many other things that it was kind of like, you know, you get a sign and then you get another sign and you get another sign. For example, I used to grow a ton of flowers in my home. I used to grow sweet peas. I used to grow dahlias, roses, all kinds of like amazing vines. And a good portion of it rotted at middle of 2020, which was so surprising because I grew flowers for so long, right? And from seed. So I really kind of knew what I was doing, and it all rotted, which was so crazy to me. So I think I took that as a sign, as, you know, that wish that you wanted to spend more time with your kids and focus more on your family. This is the sign, you're done. So anyways, closed the business, and that's when all this mask making was happening. And my husband said, hey, can you please make us a mask? Yes, sure, I'll make you some masks. So that's kind of when I got reacquainted with Ethel, my sewing machine, right? Okay, threading it, going about it again, and making masks, which I still dread a little. Who wants to make masks? So I still dread making those, but they got done. And then I really remembered my grandmother and all the stuff that she taught me. And my husband told me, you know, you need some sort of like another creative outlet. Because again, when you are creative, you really want to get back to that. You really want to create, you want to make something, just kind of like that sensation of you made something from scratch and you thought about it. You thought about the color or how it's all go together or the construction. That part has been amazing. So yes, I took some big breaks, but then you get back on the machine and you kind of, right, get back into it. And it was like, wow, it was kind of like riding a bike. Okay, right? You get a little rusty, but then again, you kind of took off. And my husband asked me, you should probably start a YouTube channel. And I'm like, what? No. YouTube, that's the stuff that my daughter says I want to become a YouTuber. Nobody wants to become a YouTuber. Like, what is that? So I started back again, and it's been really rewarding, just to sew and make something and select something and get inspiration from different people, or see what others are making and what fabrics are available. So that has been a lot of fun. So then describe your sewing space. Where is it? Is it a shared space, private, messy, or clean? My sewing space is in my basement. It's in my basement. It's in my hot basement. It is actually a very clean space, guys. I hate messy. I hate when stuff is flying all over the place. And if you have a messy sewing room, I'm judging you. Okay, I'm judging you. I try not to. I mean, everybody's creativity is a different way, right? But I'm kind of judging you in a little way, and I'm sorry. But I've always felt that if you have a messy space, how can you be just right? How do you find things? You're probably wasting a ton of time because you're trying to find things in that hot mess you got. So it's pretty clean, and I'll actually take some pictures of the space. I actually kept my design table when I had my business floristry, and it's an awesome table. It is, I think it's like 42 inches high, and it's 8 feet long by 4 feet wide. It's on casters, so I can move it all over the place. It's awesome. So that's where I cut my fabric and do a lot of my sew-alongs. It's kind of where I throw my iPad and play a movie. I love that table. And then my other two tables behind me, and I don't know if I'll post pictures of all of this, probably put them off to the side and also on my website. I have a bunch of ribbons which are leftovers from the business, but it is actually something that I use quite a bit to do bias tape. Amen. Satin ribbon, I have it in all the colors, so I rarely ever use bias tape. I just make my own. And that's it. And some of the kind of like things that you see, like the jadeite, I have a lot of jadeite. I used to collect quite a bit of it. Martha Stewart would have been proud of me, but I collected it for the business because a lot of the jadeite, it's a beautiful color, but after I closed it, I sold quite a bit of it. And then I kept a couple of pieces because they are great to kind of just put any notions, pins, and things like that. So they're all over the place. And again, I'll take some pictures of my sewing room and put them up so you can see those. Let me see what else is in here. What is it to be a sewing YouTuber? Does it meet your expectations? How is it how you thought it would be? Sewing YouTuber, it's kind of lonely here. Sometimes I want to like talk to you guys, and I live for the comments. Yes, I know that half the time you can't hear me. I'm trying to be quiet sometimes. Sometimes my husband is working from home, so he's not here today, so I can be in my Puerto Rican loud, which is awesome. But yeah, it's lonely down here. So I definitely love to kind of read your comments, or when you say, hey, that helped me, that is awesome. I definitely need to reach out to other sewing YouTubers. And I believe that Whitney said that there's this Facebook sewing group. I kind of hate Facebook, but perhaps I need to get over it just so I can go and chat with them a little bit. It is a little bit lonely, but I mean, I think that's okay, right? At the end of the day, we all have to, if you're sewing, nobody can make it for you. I mean, I guess they can, right? But if you really want to kind of get better, you have to just kind of do this on your own, right? Then let's see what else. Describe your most memorable project, total fail, biggest successes? Wow, total fails. There's been many fails, okay? I've failed so many times. These big arms, yeah, I have to do bicep adjustments all the time. It kind of sucks sometimes that I have to, but it is what it is, right? And yeah, I have tons of fails. I know that sometimes I sew and I'm putting them out there, the sew-alongs, and I'm trying not to post where I made the mistakes, because you're not watching a sew-along to see the mistake. You're making a ton of those yourself. You're watching the sew-along because you just want to go right through. Some of my biggest successes, I would say, when I got back into kind of sewing, I just told myself, okay, I'm going to make a moto jacket, a lined moto jacket. I had never made one. Now jackets come to me like a whippity pretty quick. I actually did a sew-along for that other company that I do sew-alongs for a jacket. So they come pretty easily now. So yeah, that's kind of like my success. And obviously, anytime that you make a garment, it is a success. If it fits, it is a success. So celebrate every one of those, right? Celebrate every one of those. And then the last question, what is one quote saying piece of advice you've gotten that resonates with your sewing YouTube success? Two things, and I live by these two things, and I ask myself these two things all the time. One is feel the fear and do it anyways. So what do I mean about that? Feel the fear, okay, feel the fear. Here you are on camera talking about yourself. Do I have a double chin? Is my hair looking good today? You know what? Who cares, guys? Feel the fear and do it anyways. Are you scared to send that email because of rejection? Who cares? What if they say yes? Send it. Feel the fear, do it anyways. In my floral business, okay, can I stand a 20-foot tall wall of greenery on itself and not come crashing down in the middle of the event? Let's do it. Let's try it, right? So feel the fear and do it anyways. That's kind of like my motto in life. Just go for it. Same with sewing. Okay, it's a nice fabric. Cut it. Okay, it's a difficult pattern. Go for it, right? Life is too short not to just be fearful about everything. If you're fearful about everything, you're not going to get anything done. And then my second quote is, do what you love and you will never work a day in your life, right? Do what you love. And I think that's Steve Jobs. It's Steve Jobs said that? I think that he did. So do what you love and you'll never work a day in your life. And it really is true. I see so many people that say, oh, I hate Mondays. I hate Mondays. You know, guys, Mondays are not so bad when you love what you do. But if you are doing something that you hate, right? If you're doing something that you hate, then perhaps it's time to throw the bag and make a change, right? That's kind of like what I did. I think I was kind of done with the floristry. I did it all. I hung it all. I stood the freestanding wall 20 feet high. I hung the circle of flowers, 20 feet above over people. I cantilevered arrangements. I did it all. And I think I'm good. So eventually when something becomes boring, just move on, right? If you're doing something that's repetitive again and again and again, and you don't have the zest for life, then it's okay to change. It's okay to make a change. So again, do what you love and you will never work a day in your life. So that is it. Those are my 5 questions, 1 take. I will add some of the pictures from some of my business so you guys can get a bigger idea of, right, why I quit sewing, and I'll put those in my blog. And then I'll also take pictures of my sewing room and put them on my blog. So thanks again. And next week we will do a sew along. I actually had fabric cut and all that good stuff for you guys, but I thought, this challenge is kind of fun for people to kind of know a little bit more about me. So we will do a sew along next week, and I know a lot of people are not watching the sew alongs in Spanish, but I feel like there is enough people out there that it will reach, and I will continue doing them as much as I can. So again, next week there will be a sew along, and then the following day it will be the same sew along but in Spanish. So I will see you guys next week. And again, if you have any comments or questions, leave them below. Ring the bell and I will see you next time. Bye.